For our first guest, we have Dragana Stemakovic, a lead animator at Steamroller, and she's going to be talking about a topic which I'm really excited for us to get into because I feel like it's a very important and relevant topic for animators and artists, especially today. And she's going to be talking about marketing and social media for artists. There's going to be part of a presentation and then Q&A. So as you're watching the presentation, think of those questions, leave them in the chat, and we can ask them to Dragana once we get to the Q&A. So I think we're ready for Dragana to come on and start the show.
Hey. Hi, Winston.
Hey, Dragana.
Hi, it's so good to see you finally.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to try and sound normal about this, but I've followed so much of your work on social media as an animator on social media, and it's always really excited me to see the direction that you've been taking social media in for artists and animators. Because the moment that I saw your work, like personally myself with Agora community, like we're also really in that space of online communities for animators, animators using the internet to get eyes on their work, build their own brand. And the moment that I saw what you were doing, I was like, she sees what's going on with social media. She sees where this is going. So it's really cool to actually get to sit down and talk with you today about that topic.
Yeah, it's really interesting how our industry is changing. And I started my experimentation with my animation brand not because of I wanted to get any follower numbers or anything like that, but I wanted to actually promote my short film, which I got the grants from Epic Games 2 years ago. But yeah, before I go into that, I'm Dragana Stamenkovic. You were close, but I'm just saying my name. It's easier to remember. I'm a lead animator at Steamroller Animation. I've been in the industry for about 10 years, worked on games, films, all bunch of stuff. And now I'm with Steamroller for about 5 years. And yeah, it's been great. And as I said, I got the grants from Epic to do a short film, which is coming out this year, by the way. And at one moment in time, I figured I can't just publish this on YouTube. It's going to be just another noise on the network. And I was thinking, how can I bring more eyes to it? How can I market it more? How can I get people interested or seeing the content, or at least get some hype around it before it launches? And that's kind of when the whole can of worms opened, because you kind of realize that you can't just post anything on social media. You have to structurally design how you're going to say every little line and how you're going to grab attention. So those are like, I realized virality is not luck. It can be very orchestrated, designed, and engineered, basically. And I experimented a lot with, like I said, with my short videos, with my reels, and I had many viral videos on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn as well. And I was experimenting a lot with text or copywriting. I wasn't paying as much attention to it as a film form, like some creators do. I was really looking at it from a very strategic angle. How can I write every line so it kind of opens the curiosity loop for a viewer to be curious enough to stay for the next line? So yeah, I took a lot of marketing courses, copywriting courses, and I'm going to share with you what I learned and how can you use the same techniques for your animation shots. And you don't have to wait till the end. You can feel free to ask me, Vincent, interrupt me, add something. Yeah, I want this to be
Cool.
Conversation, not a monologue.
Okay, cool.
So yeah. So why should animators care for this kind of stuff? Like, why can't you just make a great demo reel and apply to a job? You tell me, Vincent.
At this point, and this is like, so from my perspective, I joined the industry a few years ago, right during the big, like the bubble of the pandemic, where like everybody is consuming media, all the studios are hiring. And it was also the time where like online animation schools were really coming into their peak. Like they've matured for about 10 or 15 years, so they had a very, very strong presence. And at this point, there's a lot of people trying to become animators. It is a very oversaturated market. With that said, yes, there's more job opportunities than a few years ago, but it's a very oversaturated market. And when recruiters are getting your reels, they're probably seeing hundreds of reels. So it's really not the case anymore where it's like, oh, you live in this town, you go to like the 5 studios in your town, you hand in your physical demo reel, you talk to the person, they see you. It's not like that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the other day I saw a post from ILM. They posted expression of interest. They're going to be at Annecy and they're accepting applications, and almost 2,000 people like that post. And I was like, damn, so how many people applied then? And that means that you have to kind of stand out, not just with your work, but stand out with other aspects of your demo reel and shots that will grab someone's attention, because you almost need to look a studio's a little platform for reviewing demo reels and works almost like a separate social media platform where you need to grab the attention there as well. And imagine if you have like 1,000 or 2,000 applications and one recruiter or two recruiters, and they're doing that for like a whole month, or I'm not sure how much time do they need. And sure, some will automatically stand out, but after a while, their eye gets very accustomed to seeing the same thing. It's like, can I share my screen here?
Yeah, totally.
So imagine these are your demo reels on social media, LinkedIn, or wherever you are posting them, Instagram, and if they're not demo reels of a Glenn Keane, if you're a junior animator, they're most likely blending in the sea of other animators out there. But here's the thing, they're not just blending with other animators. Our competition, if I have to use that word, are not other animators and other artists. Our competition is actually video from your cousin who went to a vacation to Tanzania, or a cat videos, or a picture of your dog. So you're competing like with the whole world for attention. And unless you know how to engineer and what actually works for human attention, it's very hard to stand out and to attract someone to see actually your work. What did I want to say? So yeah, so this is kind of the things I noticed at work. First thing is movement. And I'm going to show you a couple of examples and what I exactly mean by movement. And please try not to take this advice for granted, because I'm not judging the quality of animation. I'm looking this purely from a social media aspect. And first 3 seconds of your reel are crucial, because if you imagine social media feed, like this is, for example, this is a beautiful line. But if you imagine a TikTok feed, and this is one video and another video and another and another, and you're just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and movement is immediately something that catches our eye. It's immediately a scroll stopper. And this is as simple as it can be. I really love this animation when I saw it on LinkedIn, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
Another example was this guy, which was really cool. This one, you wanted to say something, Vincent?
Oh, I just want to say what's crazy about this one is that this is one that you highlight as, hey, it makes it memorable. It's been a while since I've seen this animation, but as soon as I saw it, I still remember seeing it on LinkedIn.
Yep.
So when it works, it works.
Yeah, this one went super viral. I think it had something like 2,000 likes, if I remember it. Yes, like this is really nice. And this is super unusual in today's LinkedIn, not culture, but world, because LinkedIn is not the way it used to be, because only, and this is kind of the destiny of all social networks, when they are small, they're offering you a big reach in order to attract the customers or us, the social media users. This is the way of attracting clients, so to speak. They're offering like this big reach. And I can share, I actually managed to dig up my first animation I posted on LinkedIn, and which is this one. This one went mega viral on LinkedIn. It had 11,000 likes. And unfortunately, I can't show you the statistics on it, because LinkedIn, for some reason, after a while, completely kills the analytics feature.
Mm, yeah.
But I remember it had 250,000 of a view on LinkedIn 5 years ago. And if I were to post this same animation today, there is no chance in hell this would get 11,000 likes. At most, this would get 1,000 likes, because as all social media, all social networks grew, they actually decrease your reach because there is a lot more users now. And now we all have to compete for that same attention. That's what happened with Facebook, that's what happened with Instagram, and it's happening now with LinkedIn. Although I do have to say that LinkedIn is still a very young network. Still not a lot of users are there. It's still developing. They just recently, like a couple of months ago, they introduced a Shorts feed, which wasn't there before. If you, and not all users have it enabled, so they're still testing that feature. But eventually, once you post a video in vertical format, it's going to pop up in your Shorts feed. So it's going to be like YouTube Shorts, TikTok,
Mhm.
Instagram Reels, and it's going to be the same rule of the games like it's for the rest of them.
That's a really interesting what you say about LinkedIn, because I've had that exact conversation with friends of we've exactly said to ourselves of we'll see a shot on LinkedIn and we'll go 3 years ago that shot would have gotten 10,000 likes on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And now it has like 250,
Yep.
maybe 500 likes on LinkedIn. So we've seen that shift happen over time. And it's definitely something that I've been discussing with like fellow animators from school, from projects. So I think that's a very relevant point of where that platform's going.
Yep. So what I wanted to point out with this post is this. I didn't know, of course, all the social media rules, because this almost has no movement except for this fan that's going on. But this cat is almost blended into this environment. So there is no way this would catch someone's attention in today's environment. So you need something that's very stimulating, that has a lot of where is it? Um, that has a lot of movement across screen space. So imagine if this was a short. Honestly, I would probably even start here, and then this would be my first 3 seconds.
I am curious, since we are talking about shots which go viral on
Mhm.
social media or trying to get an animation which goes viral on social media, what have you seen is the result for that artist, either recognition in the industry or helping them maybe land the next job if they do get that viral social media
Yes,
post?
that's a good point, because a lot of people. So this guy got 2,000 likes. That probably means, I'm gonna say, 20,000 views or so. Um, and I'm not saying the viral video will get you a job. That's far from it. But it has a much higher chance of getting you that job. It will get you at least foot in the door, or at least start some conversation, or at least it will get you in front of some other clients, not necessarily studios, but it will get your hands dirty, so to speak. You won't get out of that experience empty-handed. That's what I'm saying. This kind of approach has a much higher chance of you ending up with some sort of a job than you applying to 100 studios and competing the old-fashioned way. Because why has LinkedIn changed so much? Because the consumer behavior changed. We are not making content. So this is what that happened. This is my theory, of course, take this with a grain of salt. So this is what happened with the animation industry. We used to make animation content for big screens, right? Because people went to the movies a lot. But then what happened? Over time, people migrated to watch content in vertical format or on our screens. And believe that we as an industry still haven't evolved yet, still haven't caught up with the audience. We are still in this stage making content for movies, but a lot of the clients, creators are actually making high quality content on social media, and they're actually asking or seeking animators to help them as well. It might not be your Disney type of quality, but I don't know, it will help you to a transition period or something. I don't know. It's definitely changing.
I think I think honestly, like what I've noticed with the material on social media is it really goes back to story is king.
Yeah.
You will see the shot on social media. It might not have the most polished animation, but if it catches the attention and uses the format to its advantage and uses the storytelling rules set by that format, because when we're on social media, personally, I believe our brains go into that state of expecting to see certain things and recognize patterns of, oh, if I see this, I'm going to get this type of video. And it's the shots which know how to play with by those rules and tell stories by those rules, which do very, very well. It's not always the most polished, it's telling that
Yes,
story.
yes. What I see often animators do, because we love to do acting, subtle facial animation, and all those kind of nuance performance stuff. But even though that's good for getting a job as a, I don't know, facial animator or more or a job more geared towards performance animation, it's very bad from a social media aspect, because I'm sure you, again, my example from 5 years ago when I had no clue about this stuff. This is the animation I did. uh, I'm not sure if you're hearing sound.
I can hear the sound. It's a little bit tinny, so it might not be syncing up completely right.
Okay. So as you can see, this animation, look how many pixels she's not, how many frames or seconds she's not moving. 5 seconds she's basically staying in the same pose. This is absolute killer for social media. If this was a short, I would get a scroll immediately, because all the action is actually happening here at the end of the video.
Mhm.
So if you were to
Yeah.
engineer this for social media, you would put this kind of movement at the beginning of your shot. And
I think also too, like about like the difference of like some people might really love animating subtle animation, that detail and stuff which doesn't work for socials. And I think, and like I'd be curious on your input on that, is that I have noticed that people who do content creation on the internet is sometimes they'll do two types of content: the content that they know that will get that following and get eyes, and then they'll sprinkle in the content they really love to make, which might not be completely aligned with viral or social media, but kind of thinking about like how to balance your investments.
yeah, so think of it as a funnel. So basically, you want to start with the broadest audience possible, and then amongst those audience will be your brother, your aunt, your coworker, I don't know, a random guy who likes cat videos, and you will attract those audience with like the broadest. I don't want to use tricks, but the broadest techniques, and in those numbers, you will get a certain amount of people who will really love your content for you, for you as an artist, or people who are really into creature animation or really into polish facial animation. And that would be like a second step. And then you could probably, if you wanted to publish like a super niche Maya tip, that would be even more niche audience. You're basically niching down, but you're starting broader. And I can give you like a perfect example of what I did with the video here. Let me just share it. It's this one. It went really good on YouTube. Can I? Yeah. Animators believe animating arms is super easy, but arms in 3D are anything but easy. They are really hard, especially FK arms. When I was animating on one of the Disney projects, I was really wrestling with this FK field. I kept getting the same note. The deadline was just around the corner, so I had to be quick on my feet. After a couple of late nights and one lifetime crisis later, I had the accident learning to put the forearm in orientation. That way, I got rid of the stiffness and the slot feeling. No need to counteract it. Those are my hands. Get them go. You can really see that overlap.
Mhm.
So as you can see, I started very broadly. I started with trend hopping. I started with Disney. Everyone knows Disney. As I'm going through the video, I'm niching down. I basically am saying, oh, I'm actually an animator. So all the people who are not interested in animators, but they're only interested in Disney, they're going to bounce. And then as I'm niching even further, this is where I'm actually giving my super, super technical tip all the way here at the 28-second of the video. And imagine if I were to give this tip at the beginning of the video, I wouldn't get almost 800,000 views, almost a million this video got. And this is how I'm thinking about content in general. So, and how you can apply this when it comes to demo reels. Actually, I just published a demo reel yesterday from Spice Frontier that Steamroller published this week. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's an awesome show.
You can also watch it in a few hours on the stream too. We're going to be screening the episode,
Oh, cool.
and Jalil and some of the crew are coming in to talk about it live. So
Cool. Awesome. Yay. So I applied kind of the same logic here. How would the traditional what would be the traditional way to start a demo reel? So you would start it with the titles, right? But this is a very wrong way from social media aspect to start a social demo reel or a shot, because again, why? When you put a title card, your name, so Dragana, and then I put Spice Frontier, and then I put demo reel. An average viewer on social media have no idea who I am. So unless I'm Kim Kardashian or Donald Trump, they have no idea like who the hell is this gal. So immediately scroll. Spice Frontier, since the show is just it just came out, not a lot of people know about it yet. So it might become super popular, like something like Shrek or something that's already iconic in our culture that you can cult hop on it. But right now, still a lot of people don't know about it. So it will be again scroll. And demo reel is a vocabulary only we in the industry are aware. So usually people outside of our industry, when I show the demo reel to my therapist, she was like very confused, like, what is this? Like some kind of shots, but different from different movies? And there, what exactly did she was so confused about what the hell she was seeing. So, and if you keep this title card for 3 to 5 seconds, some keep it even longer, which is deadly mistake. A lot of people are gonna just scroll and skip and buy. So how did I actually flip this? I started with the movement immediately. Immediately, I started with something moving in the screen. So I'm basically hooking wider audience. So I'm hooking even my brother, my neighbor, who are like, oh, this is a fun cartoon. What is this? And then once I hook them,
Mhm.
I bought a little bit of leverage, a little bit of time of their attention. So they're like, okay, I want to know what this thing is. So I can suffer a little bit of boredom, and then I can see again. Now you can give me some more juice. And then they can probably stay longer for the ride. As you can see, it's very optimized for vertical format. I had to animate the camera slightly, especially here, on some places here as well, where Sila is moving. I added subtitles as well because 80% of people on social media are actually consuming without sound.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
So if you imagine if you start a shot with a dialogue that's not moving. If it's not if it doesn't have a famous character or someone that's super recognizable, there is no way that person is gonna unmute and listen. What the hell did you just animate?
It's very much like it's like a bargaining with your audience of essentially convincing them, why should I give you my time when I can just scroll forward?
Yeah.
Because we have so much access to media now, we can literally just go to the next thing. It's not like even decades ago where it's like if that was the song on the radio, that was what you were listening to. We have so many options now, and now it's honestly, I think it really pushes us to think even more like storytellers and more like even like how do you pitch to an audience? How do you tell a good story? How do you capture attention rather than just like how do you craft a specific shot for a specific point in that story?
Yes. And that's why I see like the animation, we're gonna shift from that. I mean, it's still gonna exist, of course, that nuance, specificity, extreme polish is still gonna exist. But I think a whole new world is gonna open for storytelling because there's no barriers for publishing, for distribution. And
Yeah, and actually, like later on the stream, we're going to be talking with Nick Cabana from Claynosaurus, and he'll be talking about that part of IP development. And like, yes, all of this ties together, and like it's really a new direction for artists, animators, and the industry.
yeah, Nick is great. I actually also had a podcast with him. It's gonna come out on my YouTube, so feel free to check it out once it's out.
I saw your Instagram story on that.
Yes, it's gonna come out soon. I'm gonna show you, and you guys are actually okay. It's taking a while, and you guys are actually following a similar footsteps with Zoomies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I thought, man, this is brilliant. Like this is where industry is going, and it's the same thing I noticed. Why the hell does this short has 1.6 million views compared to these one? Even though these are cute, is the same character, but this one has movement. It's immediately a scroll stopper. So I really love it. What is your guys' plan with the Zoomies?
So the Zoomies team is also coming on tomorrow to present about the IP and the creation of it. We got everybody here. But yeah, for anybody in the chat, that's the Zoomies, and they just came out. So
yeah, I really love it.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna do really well. Go
I
ahead.
do have a question. When it comes to approaching social media and like what you can get out of social media as an artist, how do you see that approach being different for somebody who's a student? So say they're still in school versus somebody who's already a professional in the industry.
Yeah, I got this question a lot because usually people think I need to become Glenn Keane of animation. This is a crown. Glenn Keane of animation in order to post something, and then I'm going to be worthy enough for the world to hear my story. But actually, that's not what I'm experiencing and what I'm noticing, because I had no clue about marketing or anything like that. And if I were a junior animator or a junior ZBrush modeler, I would start experimenting with social media, not because of the goal. It will get you from A to B if your B is a job or whatever it might be, but because of the process. Because you will learn so much about storytelling, catching attention, copywriting, so sales. How do you talk with people on social media? How do you recognize people from the one who genuinely wish you well and from the one who are just trying to use you? So you will become a whole different person in this process of getting your B. And by the time you get to your B, you probably won't even want it anymore. You're probably going to want something else. So this is something, yeah. And skills of storytelling, guys, you can use anywhere. Like you can use it in cover letters, in LinkedIn outreach. in starting a conversation with HODs or supervisors on LinkedIn. So these are priceless skills, and you can learn them for cheap by trial and error on social media. And the safest way I found was on Instagram stories, because they basically disappear after 24 hours. And if you have a small amount of followers, like, who's gonna see it? Like, I don't know, 100 people maybe. So nobody is gonna care, but you're gonna get so much gold out of it. And that's exactly what I did when I was starting my journey, so to speak. I just wanted to throw out of my head everything I knew about animation and everything I thought that was valuable. And I was basically doodling on my IG stories, and I was saving those highlights on my Instagram, and they're still there. And why is this so valuable? Plus, it was super fun to design all that in Canva and all that kind of stuff. But why is that super valuable? Because you finally put something out of your head on out to the world, and people are reacting to it. So you can see actually what's valuable and what's not. Because I thought some topics are going to be boom, exploding, and they weren't at all, and vice versa. Some totally random topic, people were like, oh, we want more of this. So it's a real like experimentation playground to see what you can offer to the world, and you can use that for all kinds of ways later down your career. For example, I want to use that for my animation mentorship and teach people how exactly to optimize shots for social media, um, outreach to recruiters, like the whole package, not just give animation notes, because there's so our jobs are entailing so much more of that, and I feel like artists are not being taught like the whole story.
I completely agree. And I'm actually curious. So something that I've noticed before, and like I felt it myself, I've seen it in many artists, is that stereotypically artists can be feel very awkward and shy about marketing themselves. Oftentimes, like,
Mhm.
especially when you go to schools, like I've never really met an artist who, like, if you tell them, okay, you're gonna have to write this cover letter, or you're gonna have to, like, present yourself, like, all sort of stuff, they're like, yes, I can't wait to do that. It's a little bit more like, oh, okay, that doesn't make me feel great. Do you have any thoughts on why it might be such an uncomfortable topic for artists, and how you could see, like, as an industry, how we can grow to be more confident in ourselves as artists for marketing, and seeing ourselves in this light, not as just the person hiding behind the computer, but that person putting
Mhm.
yourself out there and being like, hey, this is what I want to do, this is what I have to offer, this is who I am as an artist.
Mhm. Yeah, so usually where I see animators getting interested in this kind of stuff, like the soft skills aspect of animation, so to speak, is after a couple of years they spend in the industry and they had enough. And it's usually coming from a place of not feeling worthy enough, or not knowing how to speak for themselves and trying to people
Mhm.
please. And eventually that kind of burden piles up, and then they explode, and they're like, I'm gonna, I don't know, I'll drop a bomb. But that's actually the tipping point where people become interested in communication skills, negotiation skills. So up until they hit that road, um, nothing really changes. So yeah, I was learning a lot about negotiation, communication. I even held some workshops on negotiation, and do a lot of role plays with my friends and colleagues. And it's such yeah, it's such a broad topic. We're gonna go off topic. Let's stay focused.
All right, one thing I will say, though, is all those skills that you're talking about, I think even for the people who, like, they get that studio job, I think all those skills also make you more valuable for that studio. Because if you have the
Yeah.
negotiation skills, if you have the people skills, not you can be an animator for them, but you can also supervise. You can also be in the client meetings because you have those skills of working with people, and that makes you much more valuable to a studio.
Yes, and you might think like, why would the studio want you to know how to negotiate for more money? That's actually a valid question. A lot of people. Do you have Any idea, Vincent?
I don't know if I'd really know the answer for, say, like the salary negotiation aspect, for example. But let's say if you do know how
Or
to
any
negotiate
negotiation?
well, any negotiation is, I think that shows that you have the skill set of how to assess this is what we have right now. Is that what we need? For the needs of this project, for the needs of the shop, for what the client is asking, is this what we need? No, this is not what we need. Okay, this is what we need or want instead, and this is how we can get that. This is how we can go to this person and present, because of this, this, and this, and this, we should be doing this, this, and this, and this, or we should be getting this, this, and this, and this. So I think even if maybe you're dealing with clients, it's more like one-to-one of like talking about budget. But even if you're a supervisor talking to other departments of, hey, the rig has this, but we really need this because of this, this, and this, that's where I'd see it being very valuable, of not just knowing animation, knowing those skills.
Yeah, but also, what is the cost for a studio if you don't know how to negotiate? If you are someone who is like, um, oh, just give me that X amount of salary increase, or I'm going to another studio, just posing an ultimatum. And
That's
think of
true. Yeah.
what is the cost for that studio in recruiting, onboarding, interviewing? Huge cost. But if you have a
Mm-hmm.
person who knows how to communicate, who know immediately to 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 set clear expectation, boundaries, metrics, that's priceless, both for the
Mm-hmm.
artist and for the manager. So we're gonna get off topic. I'm gonna just say a couple of more things for the social
Absolutely.
media aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, allow. So another aspect of virality are colors, and this is something, of course, Steamroller did super well, um, with the bright colors. And this is actually something a lot of YouTubers use. This is the most famous kids channel. Look at all these colors; they're screaming in saturation. And a lot of the famous YouTubers are using kind of the same uh, type of tactics of using super high saturated colors. Klenos is similar. Nick told me if you can make something that feels like it could be edible, that's actually
Yeah.
a good test. So all their colors are super attention grabbers. Another example is this account from TikTok, which I love. And I think we're going to see a lot more of those. They're using AI, but that's try to see beyond the tool. What's actually not original, but what's actually valuable about this account is their storytelling skill. And you can see the result of their storytelling skill by the metrics.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, hundreds of millions of views. And look at the colors. Everything is so bright. If you were to shoot this in real life, it would be daylight, a lot of clear light. So again, um, what I did with my animation a couple of years back, it's an absolute killer. Dark colors, plus she's not moving, plus she's not speaking. So I hit all the points of not going viral. Uh, but yeah, think of the colors. This one is great. This one had both the movement and the color. For example, this shot. By the way, LinkedIn has this feature to add captions, and it's not turned on automatically. Sometimes it's on, sometimes it's off. I'm not sure which.
They're ironing out with the bugs, probably.
Yeah, but when I saw this animation, it's beautiful animation, really. I really love it. And from, again, just judging from an animation quality standpoint, I don't know, I would hire this person. It seems like he knows what he's doing. But looking from a social media standpoint, if you are a scroller or a viewer on social media, you see here everything is dark. There's some movement, but it's not contrasty enough. He's not grabbing my attention too much. And then he's talking something. But if I don't have subtitles on, I have no idea what he's saying. you know.
Mhm.
And unless I'm seeing here again Donald Trump or Kate Winslet or some popular icon that would make me stop a scroll, that's fine. I don't maybe need subtitles. But if it's something animation like, and even yeah, even when thinking about rigs, that's a whole different subject. I I don't have time to go over this, but when thinking about rigs, even this rig, this is a Jill from Anim Squad, and a lot of people. Well, Jill was still popular back then. Anim Squad rig. A lot of people were using her.
Mhm.
And again, if you see a lot of demo reels, if you see a lot of shots with this kind of face, again, it blends into where did I put my? It blends into the sea of others. It's not
Do you
noticeable.
do you remember that demo reel from about 5 years ago where it was a 3D animator and it was mixed with 2D animation and she built an entire 2D animated sequence where she pressed the buttons to go from 3D shot to different 3D shot and they all connected together?
No, but I would love to see it.
Okay, because I think that something about that is I still remember it 5 years later. I remember talking with our
Mhm.
animators and people would bring it up. I think it was just one demo reel. It wasn't even this person made like 50 pieces of content and like it had to be like 50 pieces of content to get that memorability. But 5 years later, if I met that animator again and I saw, oh, hey, that was your demo reel, there's already kind of that feeling like rapport with that person because they gave you a piece of material and delivered on it. And as an audience member, that feels good. You've built trust with that person. They're going to trust you again when you show them your next piece of content of, hey, this person delivered. I'm going to
Yes.
spend my time to watch their second piece of content and their third and then their fourth.
Yes, yes. Algorithms are very based on compound interest. Like if you exactly, if your audience is happy with one piece of content, they will give you more trust with the next content and so on. That's why like creators like Mr. Beast or some of the like most popular creators don't have to fight for views because algorithm automatically pushes it to a broader audience because they already proven they're trustworthy, while the new users need to basically prove themselves. So basically, I'm just going to wrap this. These are some of the social media rules, I call them. So have subtitles, bright colors, optimize for vertical format, which means that if you want to if you're designing a shot in like traditional 16:9 aspect, that's fine. You can do it, and I encourage you guys to do that for sure because you're gonna need this for applying for studios and posting on LinkedIn. But I would think of how you can put a camera or characters so they're not incredibly moving too much on the screen. So you can actually fit this into a vertical format as well. And it doesn't have to, one doesn't need to exclude the other. So yeah, just some food for thoughts. And upload, yeah, LinkedIn and all really social media networks love when you upload directly to the platform. I see a lot of animators posting Vimeo or YouTube links, and no network likes when users go away from them. They like them to stay.
Exactly, yes, because think about it too for those social media platforms, it's a business for them as well. What do they want? They want people on their platform so they can get views, ads, data, all that sort of stuff. So you can't just think of it as like, oh, it's this free platform. They're just kind of hosting it for whatever. Like, no, no, no. What's the business there? Why do they want people posting there?
Yeah.
I just want to mention that we have about 13 minutes left. So if people in the chat have
Yep.
questions, put a Q and a colon, and we can pull them up and ask Dragana. Anything else you wanted to hit, Dragana? Or we could go like I could bring up some questions while we wait for the audience. Where would you like to go?
I can go anywhere really. I can talk for like 5 hours, but I really love to hear some questions from animators. What is their first reaction? What is their gut reaction when they hear, "Oh, I have to adapt to social media"? I'm not a. I heard a lot of comments like, "I don't want to become a creator or a content creator," and I'm not saying you should, but I think we are not making content or shots in a vacuum. They do exist somewhere. And even if you made like a Mona Lisa of a demo reel, But if it doesn't get noticed, if people don't see it,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like if a tree
Maybe
falls in a
I would love
forest, if
to.
nobody's there to see it, doesn't make a sound.
Yeah, but again, I could be proven wrong. I would love to hear a counter argument to that.
One interesting question which came up is with things going in this direction. So, like for example, you see smaller studios like Agora, they have Zoomies. You see, Cleanosaurs. You have
Mm,
Steamroller with Spice Frontier, and I've also seen Steamroller really embracing smart social media strategy as well, with
mhm.
getting people to know the studio name, the team. I love that. How do you see studios adapting to this?
Um, I see them actually using both AI and both social media as a smart strategy because you don't need a lot of money to form a small team of creators. Like, imagine if you have a team of five people: animator, lighter, compositor, musician, who would basically test short content on TikTok and other social medias and just see what works and what doesn't, what jokes work and what doesn't, what kind of characters people like and what doesn't, and basically extrapolate and see who are your winners and who are your losers and double down on winners. And when you have your winners, then you can build a long format content around that, merch, anything really. Once you have
Mm.
characters that people, and I think that's what this AI Orange Cat guy is doing. Like, imagine if you spent, I don't know, a fraction of a budget for a feature film to have a kitchen test of content to see if this is what type of audience is going to come, because you don't know, maybe you're aiming for teens, but actually that's actually what happened. Nick told me that happened with My Little Pony, where it was
Yep.
aimed for kids, and then you had grown middle-aged men who wear cosplays on conferences. Like, who would have anticipated that?
Mhm.
So yeah, I would. It's basically a test kitchen where you're like a scientist. This works, but this doesn't. Okay, this doesn't. Why doesn't? Let's go from there. So you're kind of experimenting, and analytics are king. That's what
Mhm.
YouTube is great for. That I'm using that a lot for my content as well, to see what does the retention graph look like, where are the people exiting, and what is the view versus swipe away ratio, what hooks are good and what aren't. So all these things I told you guys about movement and color, it's not something we made up. It's what analytics told us. On those
Mhm.
types of things, people stay the most. They're hooked the most. They stay through the rest of the video.
It's almost like years ago, if you were trying to build an IP, the pitch room was going to be a boardroom of like 10 people, like this small, very controlled environment. And now the pitch room is your entire audience. The entire platform is your pitch room. One interesting question is from Ruplush. Another thing that I've seen lately is a 2-second prompt at the start of the video to turn the phone when the video is horizontal, but covers the vertical ratio. So like it'll
Mhm.
show like, hey, turn the video, you turn it, and the
Mm.
video starts. What are your thoughts starting your social media videos with movement plus that kind of prompt?
I would scroll. I scroll at that type of content,
Mm,
because you have to think of the places where your audience is when they watch this. They're at a toilet seat. They're looking for maximum entertainment. And if you there's a great book about it, Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, and it talks about how our brain actually has two systems. One is for fast thinking, and the other one is for slow thinking. And social media is only fast thinking. If you made a fraction of someone thinking or engaging their brain, they're out, unless you niche them down in your funnel, unless they're already hooked. So for example, I have, I don't know, maybe 40, 50,000 followers across all social media networks. And I'm noticing too that there's some content that's hooking broader amount of people, but there's some content that's only hooking a small amount of people who would pay for my content. And for those type
mm,
of people, I have more tolerance. They have more tolerance towards me. They can tolerate me more. They're already in love with me as a creator. So if you are, for example, if I'm following Jason Momoa, I can tolerate his pictures of a cute dog or his plants growing, but if I'm not tolerating him, he needs to be so extra entertaining to catch my attention. So depends who are you targeting.
Well, it's like with Jason Momoa, you don't care about the picture of the dog because it's a picture of the dog. You care about it because it's a picture of Jason Momoa's dog.
Mhm.
And what is your, as an audience member, your relationship to Jason Momoa?
Yeah.
Another question that we have, and this is an interesting one. Again, talking about artists becoming more confident about doing this type of material, how do you get over that fear of posting, even if you have ideas, and get over the anxiety of what will people think?
Well, that's why you need a shrink, because coming out coming out to social media will actually expose all of your hidden psychological bugs in your head and all of the crap you keep hidden. And that's why I really love that side of entrepreneurship. So it's like all of your traits or your fears, they're like cracks in the bridge. And whenever you get exposed on social media, that's like a huge truck going over that bridge and exposing those cracks. So it's not like you weren't afraid before. No, you were. You just weren't apparent as much. You didn't have the
Mm.
opportunity to be shown. It's like when people say uh, money corrupts people. No, no, no. You were already corrupt. Money just revealed that you were corrupt. So social
It was
media,
already there. It just needed a little push.
that's right. And again, to be honest, like I'm going, I have a therapist, and it's the best thing ever because our brain is such a filled with crap and nonsense, and you have so many false thoughts in your mind, and you need to break free of those to if you wanna, I don't know, if you wanna live the best potential you can, I guess.
Mm. One other
We'll see.
question. Yeah, I think it's also one thing for that is that for people looking to start, don't wait until you feel comfortable. Until you're like, oh, I have to wait until I feel completely comfortable and feel no discomfort. I think a large part of it is getting used to that process of pushing through the discomfort
Mm.
and the fear and doing it anyways. If you tell yourself, I have to be ready, you're never going to be ready.
Yeah, it can come in stages. Like when I started my first videos, I didn't show my face. I only
Mm-hmm.
recorded B-roll footages and my voice. I was comfortable with that. But over time, I was like, okay, I can show a little bit of my face. And then over time, I was like, okay, it's fine. People will think whatever they will think. It's fine. I can handle it. So
I really relate to that because with the Agora community, I've been with Acon for like 4 or 5 years now. When I first started off, I was just a moderator in the server, had like a fake name and everything. And then over time, I started talking to people live and the voice calls and started showing my. And now I'm here on the live stream for 24-hour Ultimate Anim Challenge. So it's a process. And if you go
exactly.
through that process, you are going to grow and it's going to feel great. Maybe not every moment, but long term, you're really gonna enjoy that growth for yourself. Let's see. 4 minutes left. I think we got time for one more question. For someone who's starting from scratch, how effective is it to grow with just hashtags and depend on algorithm without promoting yourself by spending money on, I guess, say like boosting posts, for example?
Hashtags are useless. I wouldn't boost either. It's fun to try if you want to see how much bucks you get for certain reach, but I wouldn't do the boosting because the most growth is actually learning what makes something viral, what kind of storytelling format. Well, because you know how I see people on social media like dolphins. Dolphins have this frequency with which they communicate to each other, and if they connect to a certain frequency, they can hear each other. And I feel like humans are the same with storytelling as well. Like storytelling that's super attractive and engaging has a certain wave, and if you as a creator hit that wave, the viewer is like ping, oh, I'm gonna latch onto that. And figuring
Mm-hmm.
out what that is, no no paid marketing can give you that.
Mm-hmm. I think it's really like like always the question of like, how do you tell a good story? Like there's going to be, hey Alex, Alex is coming in a bit early. Bye Alex. Is that like with storytelling, or like when you look at a really good piece of art, there is always the theory of they use that color there well, or they use the composition, or they use like, you know, this principle here well. But there's always something deeper, like that frequency of what makes it all work together and connect. And sometimes that can't always be explained, but when you feel it, you really feel it. Let's see. So,
Vincent, I have to say you're very natural. Oh, feels like natural to you. You're a born moderator.
this stuff is really fun. And again, like I really love talking about like all these topics that we have coming up are going to be so fun. And just because all of you are so passionate about the topics that you have, like we can just go anywhere with these conversations.
Yeah.
So it's I think we got 1 minute before Alex's it's coming on for his segment, and he's going to be talking about facial animation. And in his promotional video, he said he's going to be talking about unconventional approaches to facial animation. No idea what that means, so we're going to find out. Any closing thoughts that you'd want to? I think you did, Alex. In the back chat, he's like, "Did I?" I'm like, "I think he did." So we're going to see where it goes. Any closing thoughts, Dragana?
Not really. You can find me on social media at Dragana on Instagram, TikTok, and all platforms. And I just want to thank you guys for having me. It's really an honor and pleasure to be here.
It's been really great having you. Thank you for coming to the stream and sharing your knowledge and passion for animation. And I hope to have you back soon.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see each other around.
Yeah. Thanks, Dragana.